And here we go. Hey, what's going on, boys? It's SEC After Dark. Welcome in. We are here with the five-man crew, the starting five. At point guard is me, Corey Burton. At shooting guard, my man, Steven Willis.
From North Carolina. No, I'm kidding.
From Winter Haven, Florida. The host of Locked On Ole Miss, Steven Willis. Our small forward is Jake Thomas. Our power
From
forward
Central Arkansas. Oh, sorry.
our power forward is Hammer, and our big man in the middle is Boss Man. I don't even know how tall you are, Boss Man, but it just fits. So welcome in. There you go.
Dang.
Bill Cartwright. I don't know why I'm on a Bulls kick tonight. I'm sorry.
Because it was the greatest team of all time ever assembled.
Horace Grant.
Jake wouldn't know though, because Jake is a LeBron guy.
No,
aren't you?
Absolutely not.
I thought you were a LeBron guy.
No.
Who was it that we were? I swear.
I think he's honestly too young for LeBron.
I'm going.
As sad as that is.
It is.
No, I know who LeBron is.
I must be losing my mind then, because I swear we had like a Michael LeBron debate over the summer with you, Jake.
No, I think Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time, and there's no question about it.
Okay, I could have sworn we had that debate with you, but maybe that was
no.
You're
dreaming, Corey.
I am going crazy. Okay,
making me want to watch The Last Dance, man. I have to turn that on later.
Yeah,
I know, right? So anyway, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing great.
We got a great
Aggies
show.
are doing great. We're flying high.
Yeah, I was going to say, your Aggie boys are probably doing really good.
Yeah, but I am mad at you guys because you screwed up my parlay. I had an 8-leg parlay going, and I had 7 of the 8 legs, and y'all beat LSU. And
dang.
But
sorry, Rick. If I get a chance to talk about the game, I'm probably going to upset your feelings. So, just know.
Y'all win.
I don't care. That was more about how terrible Missouri is rather than Alabama being back. We're about to get the brakes beat off of us down in Baton Rouge in a few weeks. I'm just telling you.
I don't know about that.
I do.
Big game, Brian.
I said defeated Alabama fans. I am all here for. My goodness.
I told you I'm done with them. I am done with them. I'm all aboard the Vandy train.
Hey, I'll take you there too. All right,
you're not a fan of Kalen DeBose?
No, I mean I like him. He just got to get things right with his staff.
Jake, I got some new artwork coming for you for your backdrop there. So,
Mike Shula action.
I got a little spot right up in there. I can put something.
Yeah, we got you. Got you covered. So anyway, before we really get rolling on this train, as it's obviously heading off the tracks, we're presented by BetOnline.ag. Yeah, Off the Rails is happening very soon. So we are, like I said, we're presented by BetOnline.ag, your number one source for all your sports wagering needs. If you want to bet it, guess what? BetOnline has it. You can even bet on the upcoming election, which is kind of cool and kind of unique. So
I don't think that's cool at all, honestly.
Well, I don't know. It's cool because they go beyond sports, I guess. I don't know. But they have the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. And they have every stat, every matchup breakdown, live odds to bet during the game as well. And it's not just NBA. BetOnline has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, the World Series. You better hurry up, bet on that, because that could be pretty quickly, the NHL and much, much more. So head to the website today and get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here, and they have a casino.
Yeah, and it's time to get locked on pickles, everyone. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, that is. They offer a wide variety of Cajun spice products like pickles, green beans, okra, even carrots, and asparagus. It's a family-owned company, handmade on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles have been pleasing pickle lovers for over 20 years, and now they've become the South's favorite pickle. These are truly the best pickles you will ever have. They have a strong dill flavor with a Cajun punch, no over sour taste. This being a small business, they strive to keep the produce fresh and local from the start, keeping the final pickle product extra crisp and crunchy. You can find these pickle products at thepicklestore.com or at your local Gulf Coast Rouse's Market. I think Corner Market, Winn-Dixie's on the Gulf Coast. You can go as well. Try these pickles, okra, and beans today. You will not be disappointed. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, the South's favorite pickle.
And if you want fast delivery on those, put them in the hands of Marco.
What in the world just happened?
Or taking off.
Yeah, we just like took off in a
Airline.
well, are we in a Elon Musk?
We're a rocket ship, boys.
Rocket ship? Yeah.
I don't think was that me. I don't think that was me.
Yeah,
You started talking, and all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, you went interdimensional there.
My Marcel Reed. Did my Marcel Reed joke get lost in all that?
Yeah.
The core goes swimming. Yeah.
It must have. Okay, so I said if you wanted your pickles delivered fast, just give them to Marcel Reed and he'll give them to you fast. But
Read the steed. That's true.
Of course, my rocket ship destroyed that joke, so it's not as funny the second time around. But anyway, are we buying Texas A&M, dude? The Aggies looked amazing, and Marcel Reed should be the starting quarterback from here on out. If they're not, that's coaching malpractice, in my opinion.
And let me tell y'all real quick. That loss to Notre Dame's looking better and better each week. I mean, they just absolutely dismantled Navy, unfortunately, last week.
if A&M starts Marcel Reed, they lose to South Carolina.
Oh, interesting.
Bold prediction.
Connor Wigman gives them a better shot of beating South Carolina than Marcel Reed. That defensive line from South Carolina is the best in college football.
It is.
You're going to need to throw the football. Marcel Reed can throw it a little bit, but you're not going to be able to do like LSU and run his own read for a whole half and win the football game going away. You're not going to be able to do that on South Carolina. Ask Jalen Milroe about that, honestly.
I agree with that, Steve. The one thing that I would say, I could see it being like the Florida game. The Florida game with A&M. Marcel Reed was able to throw it a little bit. I think he had a 75-yard touchdown to Cyrus Allen. But in that game, he threw the ball like 12 times. I don't think that A&M is going to have to score a lot in this game in order to win, because I don't think that South Carolina's offense is going to be able to score anything on A&M's defense. I could easily see this being a similar score to like the Arkansas A&M game, which I think was like 24-17 or 20-17, something like that. Pretty low scoring. Marcel Reed's going to start. He just has to right after that performance. I just don't think that there's any world where they go back to Connor Wigman after the last couple of weeks, the Notre Dame game, the Mississippi State game.
Well, yeah, go to Connor Wigman and let Marcel Reed come to Vanderbilt and thrive. And that'll be fine. But
it just has to be Marcel Reed. So I think that he's going to get the start, but I'm totally with you. Like, he does have to be able to throw the ball. That was something that I said on Biscuits and SEC Live earlier, was that was a bit of an anomaly because LSU was not prepared for that zone read game, the read option game. But going forward, he's going to have to develop as a passer. Otherwise, teams will start to key in on that, and they're going to stop that run. And South Carolina's defense, especially that defensive line, is good enough to do that.
Yeah, Kennard and Dylan Stewart. That's no joke. If you're going to try and slow zone read them, they will destroy that if you allow that to happen. I think they're going to need a pass game, some semblance of a pass game, to push that defense back a little bit. They don't give up explosive plays, but they are really good at generating turnovers. And if they are a plus in the turnover category in this game, A&M's going to have a lot of trouble, because A&M, generally, they're not the most explosive offense. They beat you by being just a great, fundamentally sound football team, and they're going to play clean more than you are. And that's what Mike Elko has done at Texas A&M, and that's what Jimbo Fisher could not do at Texas A&M.
Jimbo Fisher couldn't sort through his papers.
But if South Carolina wins the turnover battle, because they have to win the turnover battle because their offense is not good enough to play them straight up. But if you start seeing the ball get turned over a little bit, Williams-Brice is weird at nighttime. I mean, everybody remembers what that Tennessee game was like 2 years ago. Williams-Brice at 7:00 at night is a different animal.
They get that sandstorm going, those towels cranking. It's atmosphere. That's for sure.
Yeah, You're right, Steve. I think if A&M, especially early, if they have a couple turnovers, things could get real weird just because that crowd will be going nuts. And I want to take it back to the A&M LSU game, and this is probably just going to be a direct shot at LSU, but I understand they were not prepared for Marcel Reed. The zone read game has been around for years. LSU has seen it multiple times this season. The fact that he threw 2 passes and put up 31 points is unbelievable. I mean, again, this is not a crazy offense. The zone read is half the teams in college football run it. I could not believe that they couldn't stop it at all. It was crazy.
Big Game Brian, dude, they freeze in those moments, dude. It's insane. So, Jake, you have nothing to worry about because it's Big Game Brian. That's a thing. That's an actual thing.
Yeah, and Jalen Milroe running his own read. There's no way that's not going to be a problem.
Exactly. So, Brian Kelly's an idiot and didn't prepare for the possibility of another quarterback when Wegman can't throw. That is true.
So
I was attempting to read that comment right there.
Yeah. and in that game too, I mean, on the other side, Nussmeier looked like a Heisman in the first half, and then obviously he had the 3 turnovers in the second half, but he threw the ball 50 times because LSU had 24 yards rushing on 23 carries. They don't really try to run the ball. They can't run the ball effectively. And I don't know. I mean, I think when you got a good defensive line like A&M does, or a good front seven, a good run defense, and it's all on Nussmeier's shoulders, he's not that guy yet. I mean, he's still in his first year starting, and to be having to throw the ball 50 times, I think he threw it 50 times against Ole Miss too. I mean, they've got to find some way to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Lenore Sellers is going to, he's going to have his work cut out for him because him and Marcel Reed are pretty much same dude.
Yeah, very similar.
So, I mean, this is going to be a feast for both defensive lines, honestly.
I think Lenore Sellers is more like KJ Jefferson. I think that's the comp for Sellers.
Well, they're both like –
because Sellers is like 240.
Well, my point is they both run really well and need to develop as passers. That's my main point. Without getting into specific comps, that's probably a better comp. But, they both have some developing to do in the passing game for sure.
Yeah.
You guys are right, though, that this is a trap game. I mean, this was a couple of years ago. So 2022, that was the A&M team that went 5-7 and kind of disintegrated. But they went into South Carolina, I believe it was kind of mid-year, and it got weird. At night, South Carolina opening kickoff, returned for a touchdown, and A&M was on their heels from the opening whistle, basically, and ended up losing that game. I think it was 30-24. So A&M's a much better team this year. They're much better prepared. They've got more talent actually on this roster, crazy enough. But like you guys said, it can get weird in Columbia at night, and that crowd is going to be going crazy.
Yeah, they're nuts. And they've just like now, if they do what they did before the Ole Miss game, whatever that is, it's going to be bust, and like A&M's going to walk away with it because South Carolina did not come out ready to play after that bye week. After this bye week, who knows? They had 9 sacks against Oklahoma, but the next week Oklahoma gave up 10 to Ole Miss. So, I mean, I don't know what that means potentially, but
means Oklahoma's offensive line is terrible.
It means that 15 more pounds, Suntaran Perkins is Will Anderson. That's what it means.
It still means Oklahoma's offensive line is garbage too. But they give up 20 sacks in 2 games. That's not good.
Yeah. Suntaran Perkins after that Oklahoma game became the SEC leader in sacks.
So every time I see his name, I just immediately say Suntan.
Yeah.
Suntan.
Mm-hmm.
So does my AI, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I have to manually change that every one because there's we're not even going to try to do that.
I'm pretty sure he said suntan. If he didn't, that's what he said.
Josh, I see your comment, and I appreciate you knocking me down a peg here. Remembering that App State was a serious contender there in that 2022 season.
God. Oh,
that's a lot of
reminder tonight.
Oh boy.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah.
So, I had blocked it out of my mind after Jimbo Fisher got fired. It doesn't even exist to me anymore.
Oh jeez. That was
buddy. We have not gotten to this yet. You haven't missed that at all. So just hang tight. We're going to talk about it.
let's jump to it now.
All right.
Because we'll reveal our answers for the Texas A&M game and picks.
Yeah.
So the SEC's
Picks.
dumbest game. This game is always drunk.
Yeah.
Stumbling out of the saloon. Like it's always.
Yeah.
It's always
Matt Corral, 6 interceptions, the Lane Kiffin to Auburn Bowl in 2022, the 53-52 game in Oxford in 2021, the 4th and 25 where they lateral it backwards. I mean, there's just like game after game after game. So basically, Ole Miss has a better team than Arkansas.
Yeah.
Ole Miss should win this game. Ole Miss is favored by a touchdown, and honestly, it'd be more than that, but it's in Fayetteville, and they realize that Ole Miss has won twice there this century. But this game is so weird, so drunk, that you can't 100% predict one way or another. And at the beginning of this week, I was like, hey, Ole Miss is going to win this game 31-24. And then as that gone on, I was like, neither of these teams are going to score that much. And so I was like, okay, adjust my pick and get it going. I still think Ole Miss is going to win the game, but it's just so weird and so unpredictable and so fun. I love this game. This is one of my favorite games on the schedule, just because it is so unpredictable, because it can gut punch you and it can make you totally elated.
Yeah, don't take anything that requires any sort of prediction of points or point spreads. Take whoever you think is going to win on a money line on this one. If you're betting real money. So yeah, this game's always fun. And I think, Ole Miss is kind of, I don't know, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ole Miss is kind of in a weird place right now with their offense.
They're transitioning is what they're doing. Basically they have potentially the best defense in the entire country. They're absolutely massive. And the 2 games that they've lost have been directly the result of the offense going balls to the wall and going for it and doing all the stuff that Lane Kiffin is famous for. Ole Miss doesn't convert a 4th down against Oklahoma, for example. A field goal would have made it 13-7. Oklahoma wasn't going to score a touchdown and come back and win the game at that point. But whenever you didn't get the 4th down, they had all the momentum in the world. They drove it down the field. It was 14-10, and you were down at halftime, and everybody was freaking out. Ole Miss came out and just said, forget that. We're just going to play you completely straight up. We're going to quit helping you. And in the 3rd quarter, Ole Miss had 200 yards of offense. Jackson Dart had 1 incomplete pass. Oklahoma had 20 yards and 1 first down. Ole Miss won the quarter 13-0. And the game was essentially over at that point because they realized that, hey, if we pay attention to those guys and do kind of Nick Saban Alabama rules with this defense, and we play like we do in the 3rd quarter, there is not a single team that can beat Ole Miss this year. If Ole Miss plays like they did when Matt Corral was there and the way Lane Kiffin treated the offense, Ole Miss could lose 2 or 3 more ball games. The ceiling and the floor is like unbelievably spread out this season.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I think they just need to come out firing all cylinders and say, you know what? We're just going to do what we do. And let's just get things going quick, find the tight ends, get a running game going, and smash Arkansas defensively. And I think you can do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, this could get lopsided in a hurry too.
Yeah,
I think that's what they need to find here is the run game. They never. I mean, Oklahoma's got a good defense, but they never quite got it going last week. I don't think they even got to 100 yards. So interested to see if they can get something going on the ground because, Jackson Dart is playing really well, but if it's only on him or if they're getting pressure on him, then that's when the offense stalls because they can't get anything on the ground and he's, stuck in 3rd and long instead of 3rd and 2 or 2nd and 2. Right. And that's when Kiffin is at his best. He gets a, 4 or 5 yard gain at a minimum on 1st down. And then he's got basically a down to play with. He can take a big deep shot or run a play action. But without that run game, they've been a little more one-dimensional.
This week, Jaden Williams is probable on the Wednesday availability report. That's the starting left tackle. Micah Pettis is probable. Jeremy James. It looks like most of their offensive line is going to come back and be able to play this weekend. Nate Kalepo, who has kind of struggled a little bit, is listed as questionable, as is Trey Harris. We don't know what's going to happen. But we did see 12 personnel in that Oklahoma game, and it could work. And we have seen the depth chart move up Ulysses Bentley into more of an active role. So we need to keep an eye on that as well. Again, if Ole Miss doesn't help Arkansas with dumb penalties and doesn't turn the ball over, Ole Miss is going to win the football game. But I've seen too many of these Ole Miss Arkansas games to just bank that that's going to happen.
Yeah, that is true.
It's interesting to me too that before the season, I don't think any of us would have thought that this game would have been a 6.5 point spread, except for all the craziness, that you just alluded to, Steve, that happens in this game. I think most of us would have expected Ole Miss to be a 13, plus point favorite in this game.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at it 6.5. And I think the reasons for that are a lot of what you guys talked about. Ole Miss's offense, even with all these weapons, really just hasn't been clicking on all cylinders like we expected to see for much of the season, even though that defense has been playing very well. We also just saw last week, I think Vegas has taken this into account, that, Bobby Petrino just dropped a whole bunch of napalm all over Mississippi State on offense. And so they just dropped a 58 burger on those guys.
I love the smell of
Bobby Petrino. That's right. Good morning, Vietnam. Yeah. So
58 points, and Arkansas went 0 for 7 on third down.
That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I can't figure out how that happened. 58 points, 0 for 7 on third down.
It's absurd.
Yeah,
it was a really absurd game. This game close, no doubt about it.
And I think they were 9 for 9 in the red zone. So it's like, who knows? Whatever.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It also could be a toss-out game, right? Like we haven't seen Arkansas do anything near that all season, except for Arkansas Pine Bluff to open the year, but that doesn't count. So it could be a total anomaly as well.
As long as Ole Miss has something to play for, and I will admit they need to not drop another game, but somebody is going to have happen to them what happened to Ole Miss by Georgia last year. Ole Miss is going to put it all together on one opponent, and they're just going to skull drag somebody. And I have no idea who that's going to be.
I hope it's Arkansas this week, and then y'all waste it all. And
if Ole Miss gets through Arkansas this week, gets through this game, gets all the way, you have game day on campus and everything, that Georgia game gets really, really interesting. Because what happened to Ole Miss last year could happen to Georgia this year, especially with Tennessee on the schedule the week after.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Kirby has got other ideas in that game. Speaking of Kirby Smart.
Well, real quick, before we get into this game, I saw a video today, okay? In 1966, Steve Spurrier was playing against the Georgia Bulldogs. And that was the year that Spurrier won the Heisman. And at the end of the game, Georgia was able to take the lead, and they decided to run up the score and score a garbage time touchdown just to make Florida hurt. And Spurrier never forgot about that. Mm-hmm. And that was his hatred for Georgia after that. And he went 11-1 against the Georgia Bulldogs. But one of those games that he won was played in Sanford Stadium, and nobody had ever scored 50 points in Sanford Stadium. So he decided to run a reverse pass with a minute and a half left to go in the game to go over 50 points. The person playing safety at that time was Kirby Smart. And now Kirby is doing the revenge game on Florida.
This is like 7 layers of madness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, very deep. I saw the same video too. So that was a very good video. This game, first note of this game is because Everbank Stadium is going to be renovated. The Jaguars are going to ship off to London, and not really, but
the London Silly Nannies.
They're going to become the London Silly Nannies because that's what they already are. And then the cocktail party is going to play 1 year in Atlanta at the Benz and 1 year in Tampa at the New Sombrero. So the old pirate ship.
Hey, you know what? I might go to that Georgia-Florida game.
That's going to be weird.
Because that's 50 miles away from my house whenever they play in Tampa.
It's just weird. Like a weird venue for that game. But anyway, I'm here for
what. Just home and home it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Please.
Play in the swamp in Sanford Stadium and be done with it.
Come on.
Yeah.
I saw Josh Pate tweet something about that. Like, don't underestimate the NCAA and college football's ability to screw things up when the answer is obvious, which is just do a home and home until we can get it back into Jacksonville. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nobody wants the game to be played on campus because of how fun and how much it would look on campus to the point where it would affect Jacksonville in the future.
That's exactly what it is. Money.
Mhm.
Money for the city of Jacksonville, because that's how they – honestly, that might be how they function. They might make their yearly budget on that game between arrests, commerce, travel, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money. Good Lord.
Hope it ain't a Georgia player getting arrested.
Everyone gets arrested down there. Except me. I went 9 years and never got arrested, so that's good.
Ooh, congratulations.
It's an accomplishment, Jake.
Yeah, it is accomplishment.
I think it will be interesting to see because Kirby Smart does break out the special sauce for the Florida game.
Oh, there's two teams he really breaks out the special sauce for. And if he can, it's Auburn, and if he can, it's Florida. Really hates
we need to see some special sauce. And not Kirby's specialty, but the Georgia offense. I mean, last time we saw him was Texas, and it was a big win, great win, but that was all defense for the most part. Carson Beck still has not looked.
He threw
great.
3 interceptions, and he's a shell of himself. Like he's the type of player that it has now become painfully obvious that he relied too much on Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers.
Absolutely.
And he can't raise the level of the guys around him. They have to, and the scheme also is that way. The scheme does not allow players to be players. It all has to be in perfect harmony, and you don't have the right quarterback for that. You don't have the right receivers for that. Nothing seems like it's in sync for the most part.
That's the reason the NFL has so much trouble scouting and getting quarterbacks. Because you never know that if the quarterback is good because of the wide receiver or if he's legitimately good. And you have a situation. I think the last 3 years, all the quarterbacks have been benched.
Pretty much.
It's insane. Like you can't find a franchise quarterback. Every once in a while, like you get a Jaden Daniels who's crushing it right now. You get Drake May
How about that Hail Mary pass?
Yeah. You got Drake May who's doing well in New England, although he just got he didn't finish the last game because he got a concussion. But
hey, Jaden Daniels at Washington with Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator is a match made in freaking heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff can still call
this
offense.
episode of Commanders After Dark.
Yeah.
Corey, I'm wondering if we got a Tony Romo, Jessica Simpson situation, up there with
you do, yeah.
Yeah, he's way more interested in making TikToks with his, Instagram girlfriend than he is, winning football games. Kirby Smart ought to be breaking that up like right now.
Yeah, he should have broke that up a long time ago. Although I don't know, she's around the facility. It might, But anyway, so yeah, her and her twin.
I've seen what Carson Beck looks like. I am not going to fault him for doing anything that a woman wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very blessed.
This is.
This is somebody that started out by out kicking his coverage, and it doesn't matter who he was with.
That's very true. Oh, and we have. I can't remember now. I can't remember if it's
this is me saying that.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So it should be a really great game. I do think it's hilarious. The
It's
line
also a revenge game for Trevor Etienne too. Sorry.
The line keeps going down, and I'm like, hey, Kirby Smart against a true freshman quarterback and a true freshman running back, and you think that it's going to be a 2-score game? Come on.
Yeah, it's not good for DJ Lagway. He's gonna get introduced to Jalen Walker and Michael Williams and Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen.
Yeah,
we just need we need a couple of second half targeting penalties in this game. Definitely.
Yeah. So just basically any tackle, just pick a random tackle in the second half.
Yeah. Just the three targeting penalties in the second half would be great. Especially on the defensive line, that would be nice.
You need the ref that was calling the A&M LSU game, who was calling random blindside blocks, on safeties who were actually looking at the player who was making the block. That's the guy you need, because he's willing to call all sorts of ridiculous stuff.
Oh, did you see the call in the Vanderbilt game where they ran that trick play on 4th down, where they did the fake, like against Kentucky, they did the quarterback got confused and the tight end went and took the snap, and did the sneak. Well, they had a wrinkle off of that. They had the same look, and then he instead of sneaking it, he stepped forward and then he turned and handed it on a jet sweep, and they got like 20 yards, and they called a penalty because the wide receiver's shoulders were not square to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Explain that one to me.
Yeah, I did see that. Ridiculous. Speaking of,
he used to be terrible.
that was a good game.
He was lined up on the line of scrimmage, but his shoulders were turned inward. But he was on the line of scrimmage.
Is there a rule that the shoulders have to be squared? I don't think they.
I didn't know they had to be.
I didn't know that was a rule, but apparently, it was a rule that day.
Officiating.
It was on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was on Saturday. I don't know if it still is.
As a fan of the Ole Miss Rebels, who the officials hate because Ole Miss is out there faking injuries, and they did not call they were so pissed off against Ole Miss that they did not call LSU for holding one time in that game when Ole Miss is leading the nation in sacks, and you're supposed to tell me that they just handled their business, and you just look at it and he's like horse collaring Walter Nolan in the backfield, and I was like, okay, these officials need to just come on. This year, for whatever reason, officiating is so much worse than it was 5 years ago.
It is
so much worse.
It's awful. Like it's even
Texas
worse.
came in the
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
I mean,
Texas came in and
there's something to that. Test. Jeez.
My goodness, it was almost so funny. Vandy, it was almost so funny. Why couldn't you pull it off? That would have been the funniest thing ever.
That close.
And you robbed the best SEC shorts that I will ever have by not winning that game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that SEC shorts would have been like?
No, they've been amazing.
Been the greatest things ever.
Although we did have Oklahoma and Auburn, just not Oklahoma and Auburn, Kentucky and Auburn just slap fighting like on the 14th floor in this week's edition. And Oklahoma's a janitor.
Yeah,
sorry,
and even that was good. They had the Vandy, pimp music playing, and Texas is like trying to shut the door, and they're like,
yeah.
That still was a good one though.
It was great. I love it.
They brought them bringing in battered Aggie syndrome. I'm for that.
Yeah,
I was about to say they know every fan base so well. Like, battered Aggie syndrome, for those of us who are Aggies, like we've known that for a long time.
I love Georgia and Hope. That is just a fantastic bit.
Yeah.
I love that basically they just channel Chad when doing an Ole Miss fan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's always got the visor on.
Oh, yeah.
That is good stuff.
Which, by the way, Oklahoma fans apparently was just blown away by the Grove. And I was like, it was 11 a.m. You didn't get to see the full Grove.
Right.
You got to see the morning Grove. What are y'all doing in Norman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't even get the tip of the iceberg there.
Yeah. But
well,
yeah,
we're not even going to the games, so they were just excited to go to a game.
Yeah.
They were playing BYU this week. Bama. Is Bama playing BYU this week?
No, Alabama's off.
So I'm saying BYU.
Oh, I thought you said BYU for some reason.
No.
I thought he said BYU too.
Yeah, like BYU. Wait, what?
I was like, man, that's a great game. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, if it was BYU, I would take BYU in the points.
Oh, I would anyway.
Yeah.
Jake's taking BYE in the points too.
Yeah.
Jake is a little down on his Crimson Tide. He's considering there's a train coming by that has a Commodore on it that he's thinking about jumping on.
I mean, they ain't done anything to impress me in the last 6 weeks. So, why should I be happy about
the fly ball?
Do what now?
Aaron Judge just straight dropped a fly ball.
I should probably go to that game. Just
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, it was a can of corn. He moved up and just went to catch it. Just closed his glove and it bounced off.
look at. Oh,
Hey.
God. Yeah, that's bad. Look at Steve becoming a. Oh my God.
No,
Look at Steve
Rick.
becoming a baseball fan. Like he's in a baseball
Rick.
aficionado.
Rick, that would never happen.
Hey, I was dressed up on tomorrow night's SEC squad show. I went dressed as a Detroit Tiger.
Nice.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. You got the mascot head and everything.
No, like Riley Green's jersey, this hat.
There you go.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So you went dressed
My
as Ty Cobb?
postseason hat.
Oh, so you went dressed as Ty Cobb?
I wish.
Yeah, or Kevin Costner.
Kevin
Hey.
Costner was at the Ole Miss Oklahoma game.
Was he?
Yeah. Apparently his kid is going to Ole Miss in the fall.
I think it's time for picks.
Let's do it.
Oh, it is time for picks.
Time for what?
Picks.
There we go. I wasn't sure. Picks. All right. Well, we talked about the world's stupidest game, and that's going to be the first one we pick. Ole Miss in Fayetteville is 6.5-point favorite. Steve.
This is a situation that this game over the last 25, 30 years, it goes back to 1990 to where Ole Miss tackled a running back and he landed perfectly where he didn't hit the goal line or the sideline to stop the clock and the time ran out on it. It was absolutely weird stuff happens in this game. So I think that this year it just kind of goes chalk and it just kind of goes normal. And I think Ole Miss is going to win this game 24-10.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Steve here. I don't think this game's going to be crazy this year. That's my famous last words. But Ole Miss, I think, is going to win this one, and it could get ugly.
Jeb. Oh, wait.
Oh, Jeb, I love your pick.
No, you took. Yeah. Good job.
Jeb is taking Ole
get
Miss
the-
and his reservation with his friends.
Yeah. So the thing about this game for me is Ole Miss, 7 points better than Arkansas, and absolutely they are. Can their offense kind of find a rhythm and get going in this game? I think they can, and at least win by 10 at least. So give me Ole Miss here, and Cassie's taking Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, Becky is taking Ole Miss because that's what her diploma says.
Yeah, good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board the lane train this week too, which kind of makes me nervous because I need we're all on Ole Miss and I need to make up some games here. But I'll take the Rebs. I think what we saw from Arkansas last week was more of a aberration / Mississippi State's just not good, and I like Ole Miss defense here to bottle up Arkansas's offense. So I'll take the Rebels to win and cover.
All right.
We talked about it earlier in the show, but Ole Miss's defense, especially their defensive line, I expect them to be all in the backfield for most of the night against the Razorbacks. I also think, too, that this game is going to be similar in scoring for Arkansas to like the Tennessee game. They scored 19 against Tennessee. I don't really think that Arkansas is going to be able to score a whole lot against Ole Miss. So I'm thinking this game is probably somewhere like 28-20, 28-17 Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss covers. I still don't trust their offense enough for this one to be a blowout just yet. Like you said, Steve, at some point they're going to get it together and they're going to drop, 45 on somebody. But that could be this week. I just don't trust it yet because I haven't seen it yet. But I do think Ole Miss covers in this game, so I'm taking the Rebs.
Get the win this week and do it next week. I'm completely fine with that.
No, they need to get all their they need to get all of their good plays, all their, they need to get their blowout out of their system. So the Yankees are starting to play like a high school team, by the way, just so you guys.
My goodness, they are bad news bearsing the hell out of this.
Oh, man.
It's getting kind of funky. So Vandy travels to the Plains, the house that Diego Pavia built. Auburn, the line has dropped to 5.5. But Auburn is still favored somehow. This was Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. And because I've ridden the Hugh Freeze roller coaster, I know how this goes. It's high peaks and low valleys with Hugh Freeze, and they're rarely back to back. I mean, he beats Alabama and then he struggles to beat Texas A&M or Tennessee or something like that. And so they're going to ride the roller coaster in this game. Vandy's going to take advantage. Let's say Vandy gets the ball first, has one of their 8-minute drives that ends up in a touchdown. Auburn goes 3 and out and punts the ball back to Vandy. You might not get the ball back until there's 8 minutes to go left to go in the second quarter, and down 14-0. And then you start to panic. And I think in a situation like that, Vandy wins the game outright. I think Vandy is going to at least keep this game within a field goal, and I think they might win this game outright.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Diego Pavia is hard to handle, and I know Auburn's playing really well on the defensive front right now. They got some young cats that are playing out of their minds, and this guy named Jarquez Hunter just rushed for 278 yards against Kentucky, but Kentucky is falling apart by the minute. And so that win looks way less impressive than it would have 2 weeks ago. So I think Diego Pavia has Hugh Freeze's number. I think they're going to struggle with that scheme. Diego Pavia, even if he's banged up, it doesn't matter. He's like freaking MacGyver out there at quarterback, and they're going to find a way to win this game because they're going to hold the ball. And I'm calling it now. Vandy's going to win outright. They're going to become bowl eligible because they are when Vandy's playing for something, they're dangerous. That's odd to say, but that's true. At least this year.
Jeb is going to take Vandy as well.
And he's going to take oysters on the half shell as his appetizer.
Yeah. And Becky's taking Vandy.
We're taking Vandy here as well. I think, again, that Kentucky team is struggling big time right now. But Auburn did find something in Jarquez Hunter for the first time all season. I don't know why we talked about it, ad nauseum here.
He frees
him the ball.
Right. Can actually run. Okay.
Yeah. And you run your offense through him, you're going to win games. So hopefully they revert back to Peyton Thorne and try to make him win the game and he'll fall apart and all that. But if Jarquez Hunter has a big game here, Vandy could be in trouble. But I just don't. I think Vandy can keep it within, the spread and keep it close.
Yep. Same here. I am not going to bet against Diego Pavia, especially against Hugh Freeze. So I will take Vandy to cover in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking to calling him Diego Stones because he's got some big old stones. That kid, he just has moxie, and it's hard to bet against Diego Pavia from what we've seen through 9 weeks. And I do think that Hugh Freeze, having seen Diego Pavia a couple times, actually is helpful in this game. I talked about this a little bit on Biscuits and SEC Live. What's that?
Or is it haunting?
It could be. It could go either way. But, in college football, coaching matters so much. And we're seeing that with, Kurt Signetti at Indiana. We see that all across the country that coaching really matters. I think Clark Lee's a better coach in this game. And I really think that matters. And I do think that Vanderbilt is able to keep this one close. The other thing to watch out for is Vanderbilt ranks third in the SEC in turnover margin. They're +5, and they've turned teams over 10 times with 8 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So Auburn, as we know, loves to turn the ball over. So if Auburn turns the ball over a couple times, this one's going to be a dogfight. I expect them. I do expect that to happen. I expect Vanderbilt gets a couple turnovers here, and I think Auburn wins this one. I'm going to say by a field goal. Famous last words, but I think Auburn wins this one. But I think Vandy's able to cover.
This is the first time we've had a unanimous Vandy thing, but
43-10 is when you said Clark Lee was a better coach than Hugh Freeze. I got to snap. I got to pull that out and send it to my Auburn friends.
There you go. Yeah,
we got to send that to the Vandy people that I work with because I have a dude that he's like he's actually rooting against Vandy because he's a Vandy fan. He's rooting actively against Vandy because he does not like Clark Lee.
I'll take that clip too, and we'll see. Give it like 2 to 3 years. That could ring true. Could be totally wrong, but right now, I think he is a better coach.
I mean, absolutely, I agree.
Well, a game that we're all unanimous on: Oklahoma over Maine. So we won't spend time talking about that.
Remember the Maine.
The Black Bears, right? Cocktail party. Okay, Steve. Georgia's 17.5-point favorites. Georgia is Georgia, and they don't like to cover spreads, but against a freshman quarterback, do you see it or no?
as good as DJ Lagway is, the future Texas A&M quarterback, I don't like any freshman quarterback going against that Kirby Smart defense. They have so much talent on that side of the ball. They can absolutely suffocate you if you allow it to happen. And you're going to rely on true freshmen to be the running game and the quarterback in that situation. And you think that's going to be successful. This game has 35-7, 42-7 written all over it.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be more about the defense swarming Florida's offense and just avalanching them more so than Carson Beck. I think Carson Beck's going to have an admirable day, but I don't think from now until whenever their season ends that he's going to be the one that's going to carry this team. He's going to be just an accessory and a part of the cog that is the offense, but you're not going to see him stand out like everyone thought he would. So give me the Bulldogs. Give me them to cover big. Defense comes again with the blowout, and I like dogs. Go Dogs! Get after the. Jeb is picking Florida for some reason.
I guess he likes the Gators. I don't know. Becky's taking Georgia, by the way.
Hey, welcome to the dark side, Becky. Look at
Cass is taking Georgia. I'm taking Florida, and the reason being is the struggles, offensively to start out the first half for Georgia. I mean, if it's a close game at halftime, can Georgia get 17 points in the second half and keep Florida off the board to get to that 17 points? I don't know if they can. So give me Florida here.
Okay, Hammer.
I am taking the Dogs. Y'all mentioned earlier, I think the defense is playing really well right now against a freshman quarterback. I know he's talented, but I think they'll have a good plan for Lagway. And I like Trevor Etienne to have a big game here against his former teammates. So give me the Dogs.
Boss man.
I'm not real excited about my pick after looking at it again and what I put in the sheet. But I do think that Florida's defense has been better the last couple of weeks, and Georgia's offense I'm still not sold on them. I don't like what I'm seeing from Carson Beck in terms of the turnovers. I do get that DJ Lagway is a freshman quarterback, and that's going to be extremely difficult against this Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart defense for Georgia. But I haven't liked what I've seen in terms of Georgia covering spreads this year. I think Georgia wins this game handily, but I'm going to take Florida to cover the spread.
Interesting. Okay, so our next game, it's Mississippi State at UMass. We're all in Mississippi State except the Willis household. Steve, why UMass?
Because I watched the Toledo game, honestly, and UMass played Toledo better than Mississippi State did, and Mississippi State's defense is one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. Period. It's like LSU 2020 level bad. Arkansas had scored 58 points and didn't even need third down. They went 0 for 7 on third down, and they still scored 58 points in that game. Absolutely nuts. I do not think that Mississippi State is 20 points better than air right now. So give me Massachusetts.
That's fair.
Okay. All right. Well, until proven otherwise, I guess I'm just gonna go with Mississippi State. So our next game is
and the meltdown by the Yankees tonight is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man.
What's the score now?
5-5.
Yeah, it's tied up. They've had a 5-run fifth inning.
Started thanks to a bad news Bears inning. Pitcher just refused to come to first base.
I can't say I'm happy with either of those teams winning a World Series, but it is always nice to see the Yankees completely have a nuclear meltdown.
I can't stand the Dodgers, so
the Dodgers are the lesser two evils. In one
I hate them both.
I'm actually a Yankees fan, so.
Oh, is that right? Sorry.
Well, no, I can't stand those. But Yankees, they're my second favorite team because they're back in the early 2000s when I was growing up. Their catcher was Jorge Posada, and Jorge Posada actually played at a college close to where I grew up at. So I just always
after what they've done to the Braves, Jake, over the years.
Well, the I can't stand the Braves right now. All my favorite teams are terrible. I mean, and that said, I'm an Alabama fan. I'm a Braves fan. I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan. So I'm just set up for disaster.
You're a fan right now. You're a
Yeah,
fan.
I was waiting on you to say the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I am a
can't
Charlotte
even
Hornets fan.
blame them for being bad because that's just their natural state.
They are.
Yeah, you just picked a bad team there.
That's
but
like me being a Saints fan and looking at this right now. It's like I am not going through this again. I am not.
Steve, you have the
It's
chance.
not going to happen. I am not. The Aints, I am not doing that. I was a fan during the 80s. I was there for like the OG Saints.
Yeah.
You know, Dave Wilson, Kenny Stabler playing for the Saints.
Mhm.
I am not going to do that again. Screw Dennis Allen for this crap.
Hey,
Yeah.
Steve, this is a perfect chance for you to jump on the Lions bandwagon.
The Lions look pretty good.
You're
No,
a Detroit guy now.
No,
Well-
I'm not a Detroit guy. I'm a Tigers guy. If
Steve-
there's
Just go-
my second favorite NFL team is obviously the Miami Dolphins.
Just
Yeah.
go all in on the Lions, dude. It's an easy team to root for.
No, that's glory jumping. That's like being a Cowboys fan or a Yankees fan or a Lakers fan. I can't
No,
do
it's
that.
not. Their franchise has been.
I picked the Detroit Tigers before they made the playoffs. It wasn't like I was glory hunting on that one. It's like this team won
The
65 games.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
The Lions haven't. They've won one division in the last 50 years. It seems like.
I like the Lions. I
You're
like
not-
watching
you're not
them and I
exactly-
root for them from time to time, but they are not my team. They
You're
will
not
never.
exactly glory
I like the uniforms now, by the way.
You're
They're-
not glory hunting at all. They're still, until they win a Super Bowl, they're still a very much poverty franchise.
Real quick, Steve. A couple of weeks ago when y'all played, when the Saints played the Bucks, it was a back and forth game. I think the Bucks went down the field and scored a touchdown real quick. And I have a couple of friends on Twitter who are Saints fans, and they was like, "Fire Dennis Allen right now into the sun" and all that. And then I think they had three interceptions thrown, by Baker Mayfield, and they scored on all three. And I was like, "Oh crap!" Now they're probably like, "Oh wow," now they're doing good. Like,
And
what the crap?
They lost that game
Yeah.
by 30.
I know, exactly. It was crazy.
Talk about a game that's drunk right there.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Steve. So you got a choice between before Sunday. It's Dolphins or Lions. All right, you're breaking up for the sake of your mental health. You're breaking
I'm gonna be honest. If Ole Miss beats Arkansas on Saturday, like we are all predicting that they will do, my focus Sunday is going to be on the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 100% Ole Miss Georgia game. I am going to slide directly into that game, and I'm going to try and maximize that week as much as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
You got a good fan base to do that with. So speaking of good fan bases, A&M travels to South Carolina. They're 3.5-point favorites. Can A&M do it, or is South Carolina's defensive line going to be too much for whatever Texas A&M trots out there at quarterback?
Listen, I was on the SEC Squad show that's going to air Thursday night, and we recorded it on Tuesday, and every one of them just spooked me on A&M. It's one of those situations. South Carolina at night, Williams-Brice, all of the magic that's going on. Everybody's talking about that momentum, and I just think that
And they still can't score an offense.
if A&M starts Marcel Reed, A&M's not going to be able to score on offense because the defensive line, the front seven, is going to be able to slow down that offense. And all of a sudden you have a 20-13 game. And that's something that Lenore Sellers can fight back. And it could be a one-score game in the third quarter. And in that stadium, that gets weird. I think Texas A&M needs to throw the football. I think this is believe it or not, a Connor Weigman game. If Weigman plays, A&M wins it going away. If Marcel Reed plays the majority of the time, South Carolina wins this game outright.
I think it's going to be a first. Depending on how these defensive front plays, it might be 1st to 6 wins this game. But no,
if it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter and the ghost of Willie B gets going, I'm telling you, that could get weird. Ask Tennessee about that. They don't wear orange helmets anymore because of that.
That's true. That's true. Willie B was great in the Atlanta Zoo and as a ghost at Williams-Brice. So A&M is. I still like them. I think they have a more complete team than South Carolina does, and I think
the maroon face mask with the white helmet that they do, fantastic. by the way.
Yeah.
That is one of the best moves that Mike Elko has done at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I think they found something with Mike Elko. I think it took him a minute to kind of
Mhm.
get used to his style and figure some things out with him. But I
I
think
want to know how his relationship with Jimbo went. I want to know where that came from.
probably just a professional relationship thing, and he hired him and gave him a shot to be a coordinator in the SEC. It's
You have
probably
no idea what I'm talking about, do you, Corey?
no clue whatsoever.
Mike Elko says we're running a real program. We are not a
Yeah.
fast-talking politician. A direct shot that was obviously towards
I
Jimbo.
love that. Yeah, I love that.
that?
Yeah, he said that after
How did I miss
the
that?
game, and then of course, came back on Monday and said,
Yeah, and he walked it back.
It wasn't about anybody, but
Yeah.
it sure sounded like a shot.
That's because that's exactly what Jimbo is. Oh my God, how did I miss that?
Yeah, he used fast talking, BS, and politician.
Yep.
Who was he talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
That was 100% at Jimbo Fisher.
Dennis Francione. That's who it definitely was. Damn, I missed that.
Kalen DeBose.
Jeez. Anyway, give me A&M.
All right, so I'm taking A&M here as well. Interesting thing about this, though, is South Carolina's sitting on 4 wins, and they got A&M, Missouri, Clemson, and Wofford left and Vandy. I don't think they're going to beat Vandy. I know they're not going to beat Clemson. They might get, Missouri, but they're going to be right on the cusp of missing a bowl. So they're going to be playing hard in this game to try to get a 5th win, because you pretty much can imagine that Wofford game is going to be their 6th win. But I just don't see anywhere else where they can win a game, and I just certainly don't think that they're going to win this one. So I'm taking A&M Castillas too.
Yeah, and their game against Missouri, if Drew Pine's playing quarterback, South Carolina's winning that game.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, show.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, Becky takes A&M as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get it.
All right, Hammer.
I'm taking A&M as well, obviously, as a homer.
Really?
I think
Homer.
What gives me confidence in this is the Aggie defense. Y'all touched on it a little earlier. I don't trust South Carolina's offense, and I think it's going to be pretty low scoring, probably on both sides. But I'll take A&M to cover here and win by a field goal or maybe a little more. But I think it'll be real close.
I think I agree with you, Hammer, on the defense. I'm looking at the defensive lines on both sides in this game. So much has been made about South Carolina's defensive line for good reason. Kyle Kennard has played like an absolute animal all year, and Dylan Stewart is a total stud. But A&M also has a very good defensive line and a very stout defense. And so I really don't think that South Carolina has enough in this game to overcome the deficiencies they have on offense to beat A&M's defense and score enough points to win this game. I also think that while, Steve, you mentioned that Marcel Reed, if he starts this game, that South Carolina wins it outright. I think there's 2 things to counter that. One is that South Carolina really hasn't seen a quarterback like Marcel Reed. You could argue Jalen Milroe, and that's fair, but everyone else on their schedule has been nothing like Marcel Reed. And I would argue that Marcel Reed's running ability is even better than Jalen Milroe's. But even if South Carolina is able to stop Marcel Reed and really bottle up this offense early on and make it a real game early, we've also seen that Mike Elko is willing to make changes on the fly. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they make the change quickly and go to Connor Weigman. If, the first 4 to 5 drives, it doesn't look like Marcel Reed in this offense is able to get anything going on the ground. So I also like Le'Veon Moss. Le'Veon Moss, he was my guy last week. I was talking about him. He had an incredible game against LSU, as did Amari Daniels on the ground for the Aggies. So I know this defensive line is good. The offensive line for the Aggies has played pretty well. And I just think A&M has a little bit too much on offense for South Carolina to be able to outscore them. I do think it's going to be a close game. I'm thinking it's something like 24-17. A&M gets the win.
Okay. All right. So Steve, you're on an island here. You're on Williams-Brice Island. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Last game. Last and certainly least. Kentucky travels to Tennessee. Tennessee is 15.5-point favorite. Steve,
How did Ole Miss lose to Kentucky?
Good question.
Yeah.
How did Georgia lose to Alabama?
Yeah.
they both scored more points.
Good grief, it was awful. Tennessee,
Yeah.
Nico Iamaleava is going to have a fantastic game against Kentucky's defense. And Dylan, oh my goodness, I want to say Dylan Stewart, but the running back. Sampson. Yeah, there we go. Is going to have a big game, just like Jarquez Hunter did a week ago. Tennessee is going to roll in the beer barrel. And I'm going to call it the beer barrel because that's what this game should be.
Kentucky. Well, we did a little roundtable on who the worst team in the SEC was, and it was pretty unanimous that Oklahoma was there and Auburn was there. But Auburn said, you know what? I just don't feel like being in the bottom two. Kentucky, can you come sit in our chair for a minute? Kentucky's like, I will oblige. And I said at the beginning of the year, and it still might be a thing, but Mark Stoops flirting with A&M. Guys seem like they're quitting. They're falling apart. They don't trust him anymore.
Yeah.
He's complaining about night games.
Yeah, you can't tell people to stick it out and then you not stick it out. The kids are too smart for that.
Things are falling apart over there in Big Blue Land. They're getting ready for basketball now at this point. They don't really care. So the question is, if you get blown up by Tennessee and nobody's there to see it, does it really happen?
No. What if Kentucky beats Tennessee?
Oh, my God. Okay, can that happen?
Jeb might never come back on.
He's coming down this weekend, so he's coming back to his house in Winter Haven. So he'll be back on next Wednesday for sure. But
who's he taking?
Jeb is taking Tennessee, obviously, and Becky's taking Kentucky.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand that even a little bit.
Becky is just here for.
I think she's trying to pass Hammer.
All right.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing, and if you saw my Twitter last week when this Kentucky and Auburn game was going on, I viciously said, and I still 100% agree with what I said, and it ought to happen. But Kentucky ought to be ashamed, and they ought to be banished from the SEC for allowing Auburn to get their first SEC win inside the grocery bag. So that is absolutely should have never happened. Kentucky, you're awful. You're garbage. You're playing like garbage. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So ball's about to roll all over Kentucky this week.
Gross.
That's what that offense was last week. Kentucky's
offense is in constant state of gross as it is.
Yeah.
What does Kentucky's offense and the Charlotte Hornets have in common?
Well, Charlotte can actually score 100 points in a game. They just can't play defense.
That's true. Never mind. I was just going to say garbage, but.
Well, I mean, they're still not good. I think they won 2 games so far.
This shows you that I've never watched a single minute of Charlotte Hornet basketball.
No, you're missing fun. You see me throwing crap at the TV.
I honestly have not
done TV for an NBA game.
Literally, I have not seen the Charlotte Hornets play a basketball game since Grandmama.
Wow.
Steve invented the Charlotte Hornets.
I remember when they were invented.
Yeah, you would. All right,
Hammer.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vols here too. Like y'all said, I don't see Kentucky being able to score in this game. I think if there was ever a game where Nico would get unleashed or you could take chances, take the training wheels off, it would be this game because Kentucky's not going to be able to score. And Corey, like you said, I'm worried Kentucky's team is quitting. So I think if they get down early, this game is going to get ugly. So give me the Vols.
Yeah, Kentucky's kind of a Stephen High School team right now.
Yep.
No way they're scoring.
Yeah, I think the Kentucky fan base is really starting to sour on former Texas A&M coach Mark Stoops. It doesn't look good right now in Lexington. It is ugly, like all you guys said. Brock Vandegrift, it just has not worked out. The offense is just sputtering. The defense, which was playing good early in the year, has all of a sudden fallen apart the last couple of weeks. They're getting absolutely gashed. I don't necessarily trust Tennessee's offense, to take a lot of advantage of that. They really have been a lot like Ole Miss's offense, frankly, this year. You got a bunch of weapons, that you expected them to be able to utilize, and they haven't been clicking on all cylinders like we really expected to see. But I think Kentucky just has nothing right now, and I think that them going into Neyland against Tennessee at night, I don't think they have a chance. So I'm taking Tennessee, and I think they cover.
Kentucky's got to start using Barry Brown and get him more involved because they can't get him open right now at all. They got to scheme a little bit better for him.
They got to scheme a little bit better for.
They're not scheming at all.
No, they're not. That's true.
What scheme? Yeah.
I think they're just playing Madden up there and just.
Yeah, they're playing all vert.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not working.
It ain't
out.
good.
No.
Mm-mm.
You're talking about a guy on the hot
at
seat.
all.
Yeah. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, the hang in the Louvre is Suntaran Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
4 sacks of the day, leader in the SEC in sacks. He's going up against Arkansas, who is also having trouble on the offensive line. So Ole Miss's defensive line has a pretty good opportunity to eat this weekend.
Another good weekend of football for sure. We got Ohio State, Penn State this week.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one. Is Drew Aller going to play? Have we seen that?
I think it's still
questionable.
Yeah, they won't. I'm sure they won't announce it.
Right.
Questionable. Day to day.
And Corey, you talked about it before we got on here, but I'm really interested in that Pitt SMU game.
Yeah, it's going to be
a really good one.
Pitt is 7.5-point underdogs.
I don't know.
I mean, you've got illustrious games like Virginia Tech at Syracuse. I mean, you've got Northwestern at Purdue. I mean, come on, these are some bangers here.
Yeah, it's good games.
Yeah, full slate, no doubt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii, Fresno.
Purdue.
Ohio, Fresno.
Hawaii, Fresno.
God, that'd be a 10:30 game.
You got the weird Oklahoma State uniforms.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I saw those. Yeah.
Where they just
got the Princeton Tigers.
Yeah.
They just threw back the helmet and didn't throw back anything else, and so it looks strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looks like the Avengers logo to me.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
It's kind of cool, but if they just did the whole uniform, that would have made more sense. But they just did the helmets.
Yeah,
so it just looks weird.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so 2 minutes, right?
Well, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for finding us. However you found us, make sure you find us again and tell a friend next time. And join in on the fun here of SEC After Dark. We are the funnest show around, talking about the Southeastern Conference. Steven Willis is the point guard here, is the shooting guard. He is the host of Locked On Ole Miss. I think he's up to 20 million subscriptions now, and
something like that.
He's doing a post game for the post game this week.
Good night, Rick.
And he, in all seriousness, he's crushing it with covering Ole Miss. Jake Thomas, Tide Talk Live, maybe soon to be primarily with this channel, exclusively on this channel. That's to be determined, but nonetheless, if you want some good Alabama content from a nice disgruntled Alabama fan who's soon to jump on a
which is just so weird exists.
Yeah,
it's like seeing a white tiger.
I'm a real fan.
It's like the last 20 years didn't exist. And then you have Hammer and Boss Man, Biscuits and SEC, and if you're missing out on their show, you're truly missing out.
Mm-hmm.
They are our resident Aggies, keeping us whoop. 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 And they're gonna do some good old fashioned trash talking on their show, just like they do at the Yell practice, which is going to be fun for everybody, right? So, and I'm Corey Burton. I am host of Believe in Georgia Dogs and Locked On Vandy. So come in and join in the fun on both shows. We're going live right after this. I think Israel and I are going live right after this. So,
hey, Arkansas too, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a throwback. Yeah.
Georgia Tech mentions if Steve didn't run him off, yeah.
Tulane. Should we talk some
Hey,
Tulane?
Tulane. Bring Tulane back in the SEC.
Swanee, baby.
Yeah.
Swanee.
Hey, I want Georgia Tech and Tulane back in the SEC.
Absolutely.
I am
Steve,
definitely.
Why'd you run him off in the first place? You were the one that said, "Get out of here, scram, Georgia Tech." You were actually
because Bobby Dodd was an asshole.
Well,
so
we almost had a whole a clean rating, but we didn't.
Well, yeah. What we learned about is you do not piss off the state of Mississippi because we do not forgive.
we don't forgive.
Yeah, you do something silly, we're not going to let you come back in and say, whoopsie. No, you're going to sit over there for a little bit.
And for a
what,
little
45 years now. So
nice
Long memories. Long memories. Do not piss off the state of Mississippi.
So how about that, nerds? Anyway, that's all we got. See you back here next week. Go Dogs. Anchor down. Peace.
Hotty toddy.
roll tide.
Gig 'em.
Gig 'em.
Behave yourselves.